Steve, where my mind goes when they hired Schottenheimer, and then I watched Michael Irvin, and then I watched the Chiefs move in position to do a three-peat that's never been done in the NFL. And my mind goes to like, Jerry Jones was in position to do this with the Dallas Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson and Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Nate Newton and Larry Allen and it just like they were in position to do this, and they was like, nah, I'm good. My ego, I need more credit. He threw away a dynasty so that he could get more credit. And I'm just, my mind is just blown. It's like Jerry Jones is in the Hall of Fame and he's celebrated as this great owner and innovator. And you almost, Steve, did you see the stat? They've got the longest streak in the NFC of not advancing to the NFC Championship. Yeah. It's been 30 years.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones has put a Hall of Fame career together and the worst owner in the NFL career together as well. He's got two separate careers.
So he's basically Dan Snyder, who got lucky in the beginning. I mean, let's go back to that, Jason. People forget the Cowboys go back to back. And by the way, Jerry Jones nearly ruined that second Super Bowl by not giving Emmitt Smith his money. Because that season was about to implode, and if Charles Haley doesn't threaten everybody after that second loss to Buffalo, I'm not so sure what happens. But go back to 93. They go to Atlanta, and they beat the Bills again. People forget Jimmy Johnson was on his way to actually coaching 94. It was a couple months later at the owners' meeting. Everyone in the NFL is there. It's a late night. Everyone's drinking. Jimmy is there with a couple of staff members and other people that had been dismissed or had left Dallas. Now, this is a famous story. So Jerry Jones saunters over there thinking, I'm going to have a toast there with my boys. And half the people there at the table did not like Jerry Jones anymore. And I think Jimmy had kind of had his share. And then when Jerry Jones proposed a toast and everyone left him hanging, and this is what set it off, he huffed off and he basically told this reporter, I got something for you. And he uttered the famous words, I can get 500 coaches to win a Super Bowl with my team. Well, they did it in 95 with Barry Switzer's team, which was really Jimmy's. Yes, that is the ego. Jerry Jones places the credit that he gets over actually winning. I've thought that for a while, and I think it's more crystal clear than ever.
Steve, people think that it's some sort of shtick when I come on here and talk about how stupid I am. And it's not shtick. It's life has taught me, like, wow, like you've really done some dumb things. And when I figured out, like, humility is rewarded. And so it's like a reminder to me to never let your ego get out of control. It will make a fool of you. And so that's why I talk about how dumb I am. And to see, and again, I don't have billions of dollars like Jerry Jones, and so maybe that doesn't, my ego is more easily tamed than a billionaire's. But Lord have mercy, 30 straight years of not accomplishing what you want to accomplish, being a joke, turning the Cowboys into a joke of a franchise, just the butt of a joke. You got the longest streak in there. This man's lack of ego control and lack of humility is mind-blowing. It's like a biblical story. Bitcoin isn't going anywhere, so why not start stacking some today? The Fold app gives you Bitcoin rewards when you buy gift cards at Amazon, Uber, DoorDash, and Home Depot. Over 50 national merchants. Go to foldapp.com/Whitlock right now or scan the QR code on your screen. New users get a Bitcoin bonus with their first gift card purchase. Start earning Bitcoin rewards today. Fold app.
Jason, the older I get, you know what I realize what true wisdom is? Knowing what you don't know. That's the truth. And then what is the true art of leadership? Delegation. I've said this to you before, and I'll die on this. The greatest owner in American professional sports history, at least in the modern day, the late, great Dr. Jerry Buss. And for one reason, He understood that he wanted showbiz, but he needed basketball. And he married those two by saying to Jerry West, really Bill Sharman and then Jerry West and then Mitch Kupchak, he said, guys, I know very little about basketball, but I kind of know how I want it to look. So I'll do the other things like the Laker girls, the promotion, certainly the Forum Club. But he let Jerry West and his management have basketball autonomy to a point when he tried to override Jerry West one time by trading James Worthy after the 86 year. Jerry West said, okay, you make this trade for Roy Tarpley and Mark Aguirre, I will quit. And you know what Jerry West said? Forget it. You're the basketball guy. You have, and by the way, best movie ever made because it extended the dynasty. Again, in life, you have to know what you don't know.
There's a lot of, and Steve, I know this isn't your jam, but this morning I was looking through the Bible for things about wisdom and how wisdom is rewarded, and you can find a lot in Proverbs, but then I went a cut deeper, and I want to read something from Philippians. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. And I say that because Jerry Jones calls himself a Christian, and he thinks of himself as a wise man. And he's not being Christian here as he runs the Cowboys, and he's not being very wise. It's this man needs humility so bad, and his lack of humility is making a fool of himself. And to be in your 80s and to be this unwise, that's what blows my mind. I couldn't imagine being in my 80s and being less wise. But sometimes you get old and you think you know everything, and you really don't know anything.
Jason, it wasn't that long ago he told a radio guy that he does a show with, I could have you fired. Remember, he got really upset over a question, and on the air, He basically threatened the guy. And then he made a declaration at the end of the year, well, I'm going to remain the GM. It's my team. I'm the general man. You talk about being humbled. It got me thinking about George Steinbrenner. George Steinbrenner had great success early on. I never forget that his opening press conference, I've read this, he actually said, well, I'm just a shipbuilder from Cleveland. I'm going to stay out of the baseball. That lasted about 10 minutes. But he won world championships early. But then they went through a drought before they won a lot of championships. And Jason, you know what people forget? He literally got suspended by Major League Baseball for about a year or two. I believe it was the Howie Spira, Dave Winfield spying incident. And so MLB basically said, you're going to own the team, but you're gone. And what happened during that process is the Yankees ended up doing business a different way. They rebuilt their farm system. And instead of just going for the short-term fixes with free agency, they actually built a foundation. So when Steinbrenner came back from the mid-90s on, they were a dynasty. I don't know of any spying scandals that Jerry Jones has done, but this is basically what they are. They're basically Dan Snyder with some early Super Bowls in the 90s.
Yes or no? Would you be more optimistic if they had hired Deion Sanders?
Yes. Believe it or not, yes. Because it takes some of the spotlight off of Jerry. Deion is a prideful guy. He's not there to just collect a paycheck. And it'd be a story. And at least for 1 year, I believe the players would play very hard for Coach Prime.
I happen to agree, and I can't believe that I'm saying that. They would have been better off hiring Deion Sanders. That would have humbled Jerry, and Deion's ego would have taken over, but those two going back and forth may have kept both egos in check, but it would have been a better hire. I got to believe. Michael Irvin laid it out there. They needed an outside voice. They don't have one. The owner is the ultimate voice there, and the owner has a sweet spot for every player that makes a big play and wants to overpay him and blah. Anyway, like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.